into the series, it was all Vancouver, up 3-1, and all of Western Canada was ready to party right on into the next round. But when backed against the wall, the Wild bit back hard, taking Game 5 in a rout. And then last night, another stellar performance. The Wild put a 5-1 beating on Vancouver to force a Game 7 tonight. It is do or die, win or go home. The Wild and Canucks meeting number 7 starts now. Here we are again, Vancouver, British Columbia. General Motors plays the winner tonight, advances to the Western Conference Finals. It is Game 7 between the Minnesota Wild and the Vancouver Canucks. Hi again, everybody. Alongside my partner, Mike Greenlay, I'm Mike Goldberg. Welcome once again to Wild Hockey on Fox 9. One of the many headlines this morning, Mike, read, the Minnesota Wild can make NHL history, and if they do, the Canucks will be history.
Well, the Minnesota Wild were almost history twice in this series, but they played very solid hockey, and they had contributions from guys like Sekerash, who typically don't score, especially in the playoffs. Darby Hendrickson lit the lamp in Game 6, as did Antti Laaksonen after coming back from 2 healthy scratches in previous games, and the Minnesota Wild just rang up the score.
The big advantage for Minnesota, the speed they possess in their lineup.
And the speed with a bit of finish at the end. Of course, these 2 players have connected for 6 goals in this series alone.
The Canucks, remember, came back from a similar 3-1 deficit in the first round against the St. Louis Blues. Dan Cloutier was great in Game 7 against St. Louis. Dan Cloutier didn't speak to the media last night after the game, and justifiably so.
Well, what he has to say is that he vowed that he would bounce back in this Game 7. If he doesn't play well, he will be disavowed by the Vancouver Canucks.
And the best have to be the best. In the estimation of Mark Crawford, Todd Bertuzzi has been, well, pretty much silenced throughout this series.
And Ed Jovanovski has had trouble in the last couple games. They're big men. They're looking tired and worn down. The Wild like to buzz around. Hopefully they can tire them out this evening.
Andrew Brunette, and I quote, "It's a 1-game series, and if you would have told me that 2 weeks ago, I say we will take it." Can Minnesota make NHL history tonight? Who will play the Ducks? Stick around. Game 7 is coming up next.
Proof the NHL is tough enough to be sponsored by Dodge.
I've been hit harder. Me too.
Goaltenders, Dwayne Roloson, Mike, we would not be here if not for the efforts of Roloson in the first period last night.
In the first period and in the last couple games, 2-0 this season in elimination games. Dwayne Roloson made a bunch of stellar saves in the first and throughout the hockey game.
What is going through Dan Cloutier's mind right now?
Well, he knows that he has to bounce back. He knows he has to make the first 5 to 10 saves in this game no matter what. Otherwise, the confidence will go right down the tubes.
Bill McCreary, Kevin Pollak are referees. Brad Lazarowicz and Mark Wheeler will call the lines. It is the greatest moment in sports. It is Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Western Conference semifinals. Bombardier, Johnson, McCullough, Bouchard are out for Minnesota. Allen, Salo, Letowski, Langdon, and Lindgren are out for Vancouver. The winner advances, the loser goes home, and we are underway. Marcus Naslund, Trevor Linden, and Brendan Morrison. As it was last night, Minnesota will need to weather an early storm, one would assume. Baumgartner in the lineup, and he touches in the icing. It's called Mike your Polaris keys.
Well, the Keys have to draw on history, and I'm talking recent history. Both these teams have played Game 7s. Minnesota got Brunette to score an overtime winner and 2 power play goals. The Canucks, Cloutier made 33 saves. Linden had a goal and assist against St. Louis. Cloutier is going to be a big key for Vancouver this evening.
Minnesota has won the last 2 games played in this series at General Motors Place. They've won the last 2 games played overall. They trailed 3-1. Mitchell met by Trevor Linden. Linden trying to energize the crowd here early. Schultz, Linden, the lone holdover from 1994, the last trip to the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals for the Vancouver Canucks. Wes Walz stick handles through traffic. Walz will stop and look. Walz waits on the wall and leaves it down low for Stevenson. Stevenson, Gabrick, and Walz have made up the top line for Minnesota throughout this series. Jarkko Ruutu took an undisciplined penalty last night that led to Minnesota's first goal. Minnesota goes all speed tonight with Johnson out, so that puts Dupuis back in the lineup, Mike, and Antti Laaksonen stays in as well. Ronning. He was scoreless in the first 4 games. He has 5 points in the last 2. Brandon Reed in for Trevor Letowski. Matt Cook bounces into Willie Mitchell. The Canucks coming out with full force. And a 2-line pass is called.
You mentioned it, and this is exactly what the Wild have to do. They have to use the speed of players like Dupuis, Walz, Laaksonen, and Gabrick. Players such as that, that's why Johnson is a scratch this evening, because some of the players, and I'm sure the coaches noticed that the Vancouver Canucks were wearing down in the game last night, and it's wearing down because a lot of the big hits that they've been throwing, it takes a lot out of you to throw a hit as well, and the Wild have to just continue to skate and wear down the Canucks.
Hart comes in, Merrick Malik. Malik will move it ahead towards Cook. Sekerash comes across. Cook has it. Shot deflected wide. Bertuzzi in front. And it's broken up by Dwayne Roloson. Bertuzzi with Brandon Reed and Matt Cook. Cook bounces into Jimmy Dowd. Brunette will come back and get it. Jovanovski keeps it in. Shot, save made by Dwayne Roloson with Matt Cook right in front.
Did you see the save that Roloson just made? It was carbon copy of the saves that he made in the first period last evening, and he was like a vacuum. Last evening, Dwayne Roloson did not give up rebounds. He was either catch it with his glove, he would either smother it in his pads, he would dive and scramble. He did everything but give up rebounds, just like he did just now.
The hero of the opening series in games 5, 6, and 7, Manny Fernandez. A chance to be a hero, Dwayne Roloson. He won game 5, he won game 6. If he wins game 7, advancement. Shot was wide, Marcus Naslund. Brent Platt, Brendan Morrison. Shot save made by Roloson again. Jason Marshall towards Antti Laaksonen. Baumgartner lost his helmet. Laaksonen brings it into the Vancouver zone. Here's Walz towards Marshall. And it's deflected aside. Trent Platt headmans to Marcus Naslund. Naslund cross ice to Trent Platt. Platt behind the Minnesota net. Leaves it back for Naslund. Naslund will wait. Naslund will work. Naslund looking. And no shot. Schultz played it nicely. Matthias Olin behind to Brendan Morrison. Willie Mitchell trying to clear it out. Can't do so. Morrison stayed with him. Stevenson fighting to clear the puck out for the Wild. He retreats and gives it to Schultz. Schultz has room to work. And he gets it out of the zone. Back-to-backs here in game 6 and 7. Both teams arriving Vancouver time about 3 in the morning. A few showed up to skate this morning. Most rested. Here's Gabrick. Shot saved by Cloutier. Jovanovski. Bertuzzi. And Ronning steps in the way. Sedin, Bertuzzi. Cliff Ronning. Burnaby zone. Burnaby, British Columbia. Ronning working, and Ronning dumps it in. Cliff Ronning with speed in near Matthias Olin. Gabrick will follow. Good outlet pass to Jarkko Ruutu. Picked up by Artem Chubarov. Chubarov looking, shot, and it's over the net of Dwayne Roloson. Linden was breaking towards the post. Brent Sopel tied up. Chubarov will play. To the point, and Linden to Olin. Olin shot just wide. Jarkko Ruutu. Trevor Linden to the point, and Sopel. Shot again, and Roloson saw it all the way and leaves no rebound.
I tell you, every coach, and especially in a playoff series, you see the same team over and over again. That's why you have to make adjustments every game if you're going to win. Lemaire made adjustments. He's won the last 2 games. Crawford's trying to figure out what adjustments he's going to make. One of the adjustments we've already seen this evening is Bertuzzi on a different line. He's with Cook. He's been with the Sedins, and he's been with Brandon Reed, who hasn't been in the lineup, and Bertuzzi back to his old ways of using his stick.
Mike, he's with guys who have speed.
Yep.
To perhaps try to open up some ice for him with their wheels. Brandon Reed with great speed. He played the first couple of games, then was scratched in favor of Trevor Letowski. Cook delivers the body check.
And of course, the adjustment Lemaire made was to take a big hitter like Johnson out of the lineup and put some speed in there.
Sammy Salo is out again tonight. We said last night flu-like symptoms. What it ended up being is he had a lace burn from his skates, Mike. It became infected, which caused him to be sick to his stomach. He was hospitalized actually last night upon arrival on the team charter, unavailable tonight. Jovanovski, face-off win. That's a big loss. Shot by Cook, saved by Rolison. That is a big loss with Sammy Salo out of the lineup because he's a veteran defenseman who can give you some offense and plays a ton of minutes.
Yeah, and they basically just put Baumgartner right in his position. They even put him on the power play a little bit. But they're going to have to adjust, like all good teams will. And there's a shot by Cook. And once again, I'm going to call him the vacuum until I see otherwise, because Rolison is just absorbing everything around him.
Morrison will take the draw against Hendrickson. Darby Hendrickson, the key face-off man here in this series. Matthias Olin, Zuzin, Trent Platt. Minnesota trying to weather this early storm. Marcus Naslund, Brendan Morrison, and Trent Platt on the forward line. Minnesota clears it up, but not out. Yes, it did go across the blue line. Olin brought it back in, and offside is called.
Well, last evening, Minnesota Wild were at home. They were very excited. They even overskated the puck a lot. They missed some passes, and they had some giveaways. But the good thing about coming on the road is that you almost have that natural buffer. You know you're going to get booed. You know the crowd's going to be against you. It's perfect positioning for the Minnesota Wild, who have a tremendous road record in the playoffs this year. You're the underdog, no question.
They won 3 of the 4 games on the road in Denver. To advance in this series, they'll have to do the same here against Vancouver. Winners in Game 2, winners in Game 5 here at General Motors Place. Winner takes all this evening. Stevenson in on Matthias Olin. Here comes Brent Sopel, the Game 4 hero. Sopel on the backhand, dumps it into the zone. Rolison whips it around the far side boards. Willie Mitchell. Daniel Sedin gives him a courtesy bump. Mitchell will take no chances. Mike, we talked extensively last night about Minnesota wanting to play the perfect road game at home. I believe they did. Tonight, they're going to want to play the perfect road game here on the road.
Yeah, and that means being patient early. And, you know, it's funny, when we see the Minnesota Wild do their best, that's when Vancouver is running them, just driving into the zone a lot, because it gives the Minnesota Wild a chance to counter a lot. We've seen some forechecking here by Vancouver, but it looks like they're trying to take a bit of a cautious stance early in this hockey game.
Minnesota 5-0 already in elimination games this postseason. 4th team in NHL history to achieve that. Mitchell whips it up and around. And in those 5 elimination games, the Wild have averaged over 4 goals a game. Malik. Platt, Naslund sends it up and over the glove hand of Rolison again. Morrison. Mitchell avoids the body bump. Ronning to Walls. Dupuis moves ahead. Wes Walls keeps and holds. Walls backhands, and Morrison on the back check. Brendan Morrison read that nicely. Naslund bumped back ahead by Ronning, taken by Marcus Naslund. Naslund the captain. Naslund the shot, and that was wide, stick side. Morrison. Morrison fights for it. Marcus Naslund. Platt's in front. Wrap around. Saved by Rolison. And he will hold on. Marcus Naslund appears to be a little bit more focused than he was in the last 2 games.
And he absolutely has to be. Marcus Naslund has really not done as much as he could have in this series so far, especially in the last couple games. He's been doing things like driving past the net, not stopping, not jamming, not shooting. Those are all things that Naslund is very good at, and finally you see him try and wrap this one in.
Face-off win, Brandon Reed. Baumgartner gives it off to Matt Cook. Jimmy Dowd stays with him. Sent down low, Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi trying to wrap around. Kuba will stay with him. Kuba on Bertuzzi. Dowd in to help out with Matt Cook. Minnesota clears it up ahead and in through the neutral zone. Marshall was pushed down. And the puck sent right back down towards Dwayne Rollis, and he handles it on a short hop. Well, last night the game started 10-1 shots Vancouver, 6-1 so far tonight. Andrew Brunette's first goal of this series did not come until Game 5. He was involved in the first 3 goals that night, had 2 goals last night, and of course was the hero in Game 7 against Colorado. He works well in tight quarters, and that is what the playoffs are about, although the skating advantage is where Minnesota wants to continue to dominate this series. Henrik Sedin, Todd Bertuzzi, Daniel Sedin. Down goes Bertuzzi. Up with the puck is Darby Hendrickson. Park. Loxinen. Shot. Oh, my goodness. Cloutier had to adjust with the glove at the last moment.
That shot just dipped a little bit on him, and Cloutier will be having to deal with a game where he maybe doesn't see the kind of shots or as many shots as he's used to during the regular season. Here, look at this. Just kind of drops on him a little bit, but it doesn't fool him.
Dan Cloutier, 27-year-old Quebec native. Former top pick of the New York Rangers. Zoltak. Shot was blocked. Gabrick has it. Marian Gabrick towards the front. Kuba fires it high and wide of the net. That was a rolling puck. Sopel stays with Marian Gabrick. 11 points in the series for Marian Gabrick. Jeremy Stevenson, Sergei Zoltak, Marian Gabrick. Gabrick keeps the puck alive. Ruutu will chase it down. Stevenson trying to work through the stick check of Olin. Sekarash intercepted at center. Trevor Linden looked to bounce it ahead to Ruutu, and Sekarash recovered nicely. Sekarash, his first ever NHL playoff goal last night, a power play goal. The second of the evening. Jimmy Dowd. Dowd down towards Brunette. Dumped in. Jovanovski touches, and icing is called. This series, Mike, has been dynamic.
It has, and it is also tied, but it is not tied in as many categories as you might think. Look at the Minnesota Wild outscoring, not outshooting, but the Minnesota Wild have played well when not outshooting teams, believe it or not. But they own the categories everywhere else, especially the big one, and that is time of a lead in this series. Only in Game 3 did Vancouver lead, and those were the 38 minutes that you see there.
Well, it is not without history for Minnesota not to outshoot their opponents. They outshot their opponents in the regular season by just 29 times. So they certainly are used to that. Loxinen in towards that loose puck. Jovanovski pushes it out into the neutral ice area.
And the players joke about it, then they call it the rope-a-dope, where you take a lot of shots, you get 2, and you score once.
Now, Muhammad Ali is still considered the greatest, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Andre Zuzin. Brad May in on him, and oh my goodness, what a body check by Brad May, and Andre Zuzin will be slow to get up. That's May's first shift of the game, and he runs through Andre Zuzin. Mark that one down. That's a potential momentum builder for Vancouver.
Well, Zuzin was shaken up in Game 6 just last night on a big hit. One that drew a penalty, but still, Zuzin taking a beating in the arms area. This one was on his other arm, the left one or the right one last evening.
Willie Mitchell and Andre Zuzin being attended to by Don Fuller. It's his left shoulder, it appears.
Well, you know that Vancouver's going to continue to hit. And the Minnesota Wild are not afraid to take a hit to make a play. They've done it all series long. They've done it all season long. But that one shakes up Zuzin a little bit. You're going to see May and others taking runs like that.
Well, without Johnson in the lineup, shot saved by Brunette. You don't have that immediate counter. But, Mike, that may not be the game you get into in a Game 7. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. You do not want to be running at anybody in this game, because if you get beat off the wall or you get beat by your opponent, your direct opponent, your counterpart, I tell you, it can really come back and backfire on you.
Dowd gets set. Brendan Morrison. Brunette off the face-off a moment ago. Dowd wins that drop. Kuba shot through traffic. Deflected off the body of Brunette. Murray Barron on Andrew Brunette. Jason Marshall pushed from behind. He wanted a call. He won't get it. Referees letting him play so far. Dumped in down towards Trent Platt. Platt behind the net. Platt the hero of Game 1. Naslund on the forecheck. Naslund to Trent Platt. Here's Marcus Naslund. Bouncing puck. Deflected off the stick. Andre Zuzin has gone to the locker room to be attended to. Rolison plays it over to Philippe Kuba. Kuba met by Todd Bertuzzi. Kuba was having trouble digging that puck off the sideboards, and Bertuzzi bodies into him. Stevenson into Sopel, and he goes down hard. Bertuzzi looking for anything in a green jersey to hit. Daniel Sedin on the forecheck. Daniel and Henrik Sedin, Mike, combined for the first goal against St. Louis in that Game 7, and it turned the tide after St. Louis had scored just about a minute into the contest. A comfortable Game 7 victory against the Blues for the Canucks. Sopel keeps it in, gets it over to Daniel Sedin. Down towards Todd Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi to Sopel. Sopel looking into traffic. Mitchell's there. Mitchell tries to clear. First time no, second time no. Sopel kept it in again. And the bouncing puck finally gathered in by Zoltar. Across the line, and he'll push it in. Minnesota a couple of times a chance to clear there. Mike could not do so. Park the shot. Blocked by Chubarov. Locks it in. Park hustles in.
But they did have a lot of players back in their zone helping out, so that was the positive side of not maybe getting that puck out as quickly as they'd like.
Chubarov brings it ahead for Vancouver. Artem Chubarov around the outside. Mitchell stays with him. Through the crease, nothing there. Chubarov protecting the puck well. Ruutu fires, gloved by Rolison. Canucks continue to put on an early show, but Rolison unbeatable so far. Jason Marshall, BC native, Mike, this is where his versatility could be a major factor. We'll see how long Zuzin is out, but Marshall can take a shift or two at the blue line, which helps Minnesota's rotation.
They do have defensemen that can step up, though. You remember when Willie Mitchell was knocked out, they didn't do that. They just put some more minutes on the guys they have. So the versatility in the individual players, but also the versatility of the whole lineup to be able to do that.
Dupuis comes in to take this face-off. Brandon Reed wins it cleanly. Bertuzzi fans on it. Wes Walz trying to move ahead of Baumgartner.
He had his stick slashed, I think, out of his hands. No call there.
Walz was almost gone on a breakaway. Here's Walz. Walz is hammered by Bertuzzi. And no call is made. Walz slow to get up. And it's fired high and over the Vancouver net. Sekarash. Cook. Darby Hendrickson there to support. Down low, Hendrickson. Ronning, looking, Ronning moving. Ronning has it. Cliff Ronning towards the front, just missed Dupuis. Dupuis off the sideboards, bouncing puck. And Dupuis couldn't get a shot away. 3-on-2 for Vancouver. Pass ahead to Brandon Reed. Backhand, save, rebound, pushed aside. Ronning able to gain it out of the zone. Ronning looking to use his speed against Malik. Couple of chances potentially there for Minnesota. Malik fans on it. Ahead to Brendan Morrison. Over the red line, and he'll dump it in. Trent Platt. Schultz and Mitchell are both there. Platt has it. Platt to Naslin. Morrison in front. Naslin slides it down to Brendan Morrison. Morrison across Naslin. Naslin shot. That was wide. Rolison had it covered. Jovanovski falls. And here comes Jeremy Stevenson. Gabrick on the wing. Gabrick waiting. Gabrick looking. Gabrick shot deflected up and into the netting.
Good stick by Malik there. They had a dangerous threesome coming down the ice. Stevenson, Walz was trailing, and Jovanovski had tripped and fallen as he had his skate caught against the boards. And the feed to Gabrick. Watch Walz following. Comes into the picture. But Malik just deflects that shot by Gabrick. This Walz, a lot of speed. That line is really clicked in this series.
Walz just tying his skates down there in the corner. He's fine. Jimmy Dowd, Andrew Brunette, Jason Marshall. Brown and Zuzin haven't seen, or pardon me, Brown and Kuba haven't seen Zuzin as of yet after he took the big hit by Brad May. And I think that's the only shift Brad May has played so far. Brunette, Dowd, Marshall. Andrew Brunette, draped upon by Henrik Sedin. Brunette trying to work through. Look at Andrew Brunette, still trying to control. Brunette, puck comes free, down he goes. Sedin stays with him. Marshall looking in front of the net. Marshall thought it was in. Marshall raised his arms in celebration. He thought he had jammed it in. Jimmy Dowd takes it. Brunette coming off. Yeah, you're gassed after that battle. Good job by Henrik Sedin. Brown to Marshall. Marshall on the backhand. Loxinen, speedy in towards Sopel. Walls picks it up, gives it back towards Loxinen. His stick is checked by Brent Sopel. Walls has it. Walls looking. In front. Shot. Save made by Cloutier. Rebound! And Cloutier will hold on. Willie Mitchell snuck in.
Have to use every weapon that you have. And they did a good job. Walls will just feed it to the front, looking for that back door. And Mitchell almost gets a lot of wood on it. And then Marshall, right before that, thought he scored when he jammed it inside the post. It snuck across the crease dangerously.
This is a lot like game one, where the pace was dictated early. The hits were thrown out, but now Minnesota's starting to use the legs. Trying to skate and keep those feet moving.
Well, the tighter this game stays throughout, the better for the Minnesota Wild, because they will have the better stamina, I believe, in the later part of the second and third.
Park trying to intercept that pass. Loxinen. Chubarov is on him. Chubarov and Loxinen. Linden, Mitchell snuck in. Linden recovers. Jimmy down back defensively to help out. Jovanovski across the line. Jovanovski. Puck swept aside by Rolison. Given to Chubarov. Shot. Save made. Rebound. Another save, and it's cleared by Brown. Critical saves there by Dwayne Rolison. And Brad Brown there to clear the rebound nicely. Trevor Linden had an excellent opportunity.
That's why it was so crucial the way Rolison played last evening, because he didn't give up rebounds. Sometimes it's hard not to, as he has to reach for this one. Watch Linden spin around and put it off the left pad of Rolison. It's a good thing Rolison covers the lower part of the ice so well, because he makes a right pad save, then a left pad save. And Linden a couple good chances.
Brandon Reed, Bertuzzi and Cook. Stevenson tied up, runs into Sopel. Brandon Reed, young man, spent most of the year in the minors. Bodies flying all over. Gabrick can't get to it. Cook has it. Matt Cook behind the net. Sekerash drives him to the outside. Here's Sopel. Sopel loses the puck. Just momentarily, he mishandled and Stevenson regained. Sekerash ahead to Marian Gabrick. Gabrick comes across the line. Gabrick. Sopel came in to help. Stevenson comes with it. Now it's Gabrick. Just kind of pushed a bit by Bertuzzi. Cook sends it up. Rolison will play. Trent Platt in on the forecheck.
Very cautious game here by both teams. It just doesn't seem like the high-spirited energy games that we've seen in the previous six.
Dupuis in towards the puck. Walls waiting, looking, couldn't get the shot away. Marcus Naslund. Naslund feeds it ahead. Platt busting in. Mitchell stays with him nicely. Mitchell one-handed pushes it aside. Morrison there though. Marcus Naslund looking in front. The traffic was there, but Mitchell was as well. Malik. Jovanovski. Merrick Malik. 6'2", 207. The smallest defenseman for Vancouver. Linden driving shot, save, rebound. Cleared out by Schultz. Linden drives hard to the net again. Trevor Linden's a gamer, Mike. He is absolutely a gamer.
10 points in all his game sevens that he's played with Vancouver.
He might be the best player on the ice for Vancouver so far in this game. Icing the call, Trevor Linden, the captain in 94, trying to return to the finals again.
Well, in game 7, you try and get everything at the net. The puck will end up on Walls' stick. Watch what he does. He makes one move, tries to go back. Dupuis had already fallen down. You have to get the pucks on net if you can. If you can possibly get them on net, you have to put them there, because you never know what's going to happen.
Wes Walls leaves it back. Bertuzzi in front. Walls was there defensively. Sedin, Bertuzzi. So some big-time line juggling done here in the first period by Mark Crawford. Lubomir Sekerash has to wait, brings it across, and it's going to be whistled down offside.
Well, Bertuzzi seems to be out there quite a bit. He's being double shifted. He's going on the line with Sedin. He's going on those lines with Brandon Reed and Cook, so he's getting a lot of ice time early, and you have to wonder if that's going to wear him down later on.
In the overtime game 4, Mike, he played 31 minutes and 35 seconds. Now, he'd had the flu in game 3 and played only 15 minutes that night.
He's a big man, and we'll see how he holds up, especially if he's throwing his weight around.
Kuba mishandles neutral ice. Brandon Reed with Hendrickson there. Hendrickson across the line. Hendrickson the shot. Cloutier. It bounces up and through him. Here's Loxinen. Loxinen looking and waiting for Park. Loxinen trying to thread it back to Hendrickson. He's dragged down by Malik, and play's going to go right on. McCreary and Pollock are letting them play. Susan is yet to return. Brandon Reed, Matt Cook gloved up and out by Kuba. Park lost an edge. And they're going to call a hand pass, and so the faceoff will be inside the Minnesota zone.
Yeah, you can move it to your own forward or defenseman with a hand inside your zone, but Park had slid out of the zone by that time. A little miscommunication at the blue line. There's Richard Park, the hero in Game 6 against Colorado in overtime. An elimination game, as you recall.
Coming into these NHL playoffs, 105 series had gone to Game 7. The home team winning 67 times, about 64% of the time. There were 3 Game 7s in the first round, and the home team won twice. Philadelphia defeated Toronto. Vancouver defeated St. Louis, but Minnesota won on the road against the Colorado Avalanche in overtime. The 7th-seeded Mighty Ducks of Anaheim are waiting to see which way they will travel. North to Vancouver or up to the Midwest, a little, that would be northeast to St. Paul. Where are the big payroll teams now? Dallas, Detroit, and Colorado all eliminated. They have won all but one of the last cups since 1996. New Jersey, the only exception. Vancouver's alive. And either Minnesota or Vancouver will advance to take on the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. We'll have a new Stanley Cup champion this year. We found that out in just 4 games. Down. Trying to jump on that loose puck. Brunette without the helmet. Brunette has it. Brunette looking. Brunette in front. Down. Couldn't get a piece of it. Jason Marshall. Brunette down and Marshall. Marshall dumped by Jovanovski. Minnesota taking some punishment, but they keep the feet moving.
This is the work that's going to win you hockey games right here.
Look at Andrew Brunette. Unbelievable. And Andrew Brunette is not the biggest man in the world. That is the amazing thing. Brunette continued to work. The helmet travels along with the puck. Chubarov can't get it past Jimmy Dowd. Dowd trying to put pressure on. Shot save made by Cloutier. Quick shot by Jason Marshall. Here's Brunette again. Brunette looking and waiting. Andrew Brunette, unbelievable. Brunette still has it. Moves it ahead with the glove. Brunette trying to dig for it. And it is sent down the length of the ice by Vancouver. What a bit of work by Andrew Brunette. Matthias Olin. Trent Platt. Shot. Save Rolison. Platt again. Behind the net, Naslin. Naslin, Morrison, Platt. Naslin. Cycles it down. Trent Platt. Schultz stays positioned on him. Nick Schultz quietly has been outstanding here in the playoffs. Naslin. Platt again. Platt working in front. Rolison pins it up towards the side of the net. Schultz trying to clear. Puck is still free. Naslin saved by Rolison. Brown thrown down. Platt comes through. Brown back up. Naslin with it. Oland, Park. He's able to clear it to center. Loxinen quickly in on Soper. Walls can't get it. He's met by Matthias Olin. And Bertuzzi will flip it. Bertuzzi's going to chase Lubomir Sekerash. Sekerash flips it to Kuba. And Kuba able to get it. Wound have gone D-to-D successfully, Mike. And that has somewhat neutralized the forechecking of the Vancouver Canucks, which was a key in their St. Louis series win. Sekerash mishandled. Sedin is on him. Jovanovski. It hit the linesman. And Sekerash moves it ahead.
But they're still not pressing very hard like they did in the previous games. You don't see defense jumping into the play like they did earlier. And they just don't want to be counterattacked. And that's why Vancouver's being cautious.
Jovanovski shot, gloved and held on to by Dwayne Rolison. Mitchell and Kuba in front, Bertuzzi. 1:06 remains in the first. Canucks out shooting the Wild 2-1, 12-6.
Well, Andrew Brunette, as you mentioned, was just spectacular behind the net. You just couldn't get the puck off his stick. He uses his feet very well, too. That's one thing you have to watch about Andrew Brunette. He doesn't just have the stick working. He kicks the puck to his stick quite often, uses his leverage, and then sets it up. Almost had Dowd in front. Definitely got a puck to Marshall, who got a shot on goal.
Chubarov near 60% the face-off circles. That one won by Walls. Last minute of period number 1. Shots are 12-6 Vancouver. Scoreless so far in the game as it was last night. It was scoreless after the first period one night ago. Matthias Olin across to Sopel. Chubarov, Hendrickson perfectly positioned. Sopel, still time to send it in, and Ruutu will chase. Off the side of the net. Ruutu looks to center. Brandon Reed, Ronning. Jovanovski kept it in. Line change for Vancouver. Brandon Reed, the lone forechecker. Sekerash over towards Dupuis, bouncing puck. And Mitchell there to support.
Oh, I don't like that play. Not with 10 seconds left in the period.
Neither does the Hall of Fame head coach, trust me. Bertuzzi trying to move in. Final seconds of this period. Without a goal stick is Rolison. 2 seconds. Shot. Malik. Bouncing puck. No goal. Cleared ahead by Richard Park. And the horn will sound.
Well, Rolison wanted a penalty because Bertuzzi slashed the stick out of his hands.
And Malik got the stick between the legs of Rolison and tried to tweak him a bit.
Well, Rolison tried to play the puck. Watch this. Slash. That's interference. If you're going to be technical about it, it is. And Bertuzzi gets away with a couple in this period, but they're letting him play. No penalties in that first period.
40 minutes of regulation time remains in Game 7. The winner advances to the Western Conference Finals. A win for Minnesota, and they make NHL history. We're back with our intermission activities in a moment.
This is a test for him. He has not done what everyone thought he would. There's a man that is doing what he needs to do, leading NHL in scoring in the playoffs with 17 points.
10 goals against Vancouver, 20 points in the games, playoff and regular season combined this year. Nick Schultz, man, he's grown up. He's much more than 20 years old now. Willie Mitchell, Jeremy Stevenson, didn't even have a contract when he came to camp. 40 minutes remains in regulation time. Minnesota on the road. A little line change made here. Walls took the draw. Last change for Crawford. Walls comes off. Zoltak on. Zoltak with Gabrick and Stevenson. Schultz. Linden finishes the check. Trevor Linden just missed the man. Jarkko Ruutu in front. Chubarov intercepted that pass intended for Marian Gabrick. Rolison holds behind and flips it up and out of the zone. Zoltak takes it and works. Sergei Zoltak. Brendan Morrison positionally there. Here's Naslin, and it's poked off his stick by Mitchell. Just as Naslin was looking to fire from prime range. Rolison. Schultz. Flat. Bumps into him. Mitchell. Ronning. Dupuis. Dupuis tried to fire, and Walls actually hit him. Here's Cliff Ronning. Dupuis got a stick in the face, and play is going to go right on. Walls behind. Walls looking for it. Here's Ronning. Cloutier swimming. Ronning behind. Cloutier regathers. Ronning waiting. Ronning looking. Ronning. Look at Dupuis trying to fight for position. Ronning. Nobody's committing towards Ronning. Ronning still waiting. Ronning comes out and around. Fire shot. Save made by Cloutier. What a battle in flip as men try to get open for Cliff Ronning to put the puck on their stick. Kuba to Dupuis. Dupuis, big drive, save Cloutier.
Cloutier can really leave some tough rebounds on shots to the low corners. That's where the Wild may be able to take advantage.
Shot by Cook was wide. Bertuzzi came barreling in. Minnesota clears to center. Just underway here, period 2. Period 2 has belonged to Minnesota in games 5 and 6. Bertuzzi into Zuzin, so Zuzin is back. He missed the remainder of the first period after the hit by Brad May. Kuba. And the puck is cleared out. Murray Barron. And the puck sails out of play. Andre Zuzin, how important is it to have him back in the lineup?
Positionally, he is so sound that you need him in the lineup. He plays a lot of minutes, and he does it very well. There's Barron, a physical player as well. Andre Zuzin, as you said, missed some minutes in the latter parts of the first period. Likely one of the best defensemen out there, and what an acquisition by Doug Risebrough. Picked him up off waivers, believe it or not.
Well, some of the brass in New Jersey said, hey, this is a good kid. You take a flyer on him, it might be worth it. And they did. Got good reports on him. Schultz. Sedin tries to bump him. That was Henrik. There's Daniel on the left side. Bumped out, and the puck off the glove of Barron and into the Canucks bench. How about Cliff Ronning just parking behind the net a moment ago?
Well, you know, reminiscent of the first period when Brunette did the same thing. Brunette had to work a little bit differently to get it done. Ronning wasn't attacked at all because everyone was picking up players in front. Finally, he steps out and gets a shot, and a bad rebound again. That's been Cloutier's thorn in his side, is the rebounds he sometimes leaves.
Jovanovski. Brad Brown. Brown sends it up. Naslund got a stick on it. Kept in momentarily at the blue line. Henriksen dives forward, can't clear. Trent Platt. Marcus Naslund. Naslund in front. Shot saved by Rolison. Puck is free, and Rolison makes the save again.
Morrison had a rolling puck, and I think he shot it towards the middle of the net rather than in the corner. Rolison reached back and made a tremendous save on a loose puck. That's what happens when you have rebounds. Guys start running around off the skate. Look at the shot, the rebound right off, and Win Morrison. Oh, that was just too sharp of an angle. Good job by Brown diving in defense there, but I just don't think Morrison had a good enough angle in order to get that at the net.
And Rolison was reset and saw it all the way. Zuzan Mitchell. Linden on the forecheck. Stevenson, two-line pass.
Well, Vancouver said that after last night, they said, we need to score first because then we can establish our game. Well, no one scored yet, but I'm sure Crawford would like to see his team get up 1-0 quick here.
Mike, we've shown the graphic a couple of times. Only 38 minutes and some change has Vancouver led in this series, but when they led in Game 3, that was the game with all the power play goals. They held on and really limited Minnesota the final 27 minutes of the contest.
Gave Minnesota a taste of their own medicine.
Zoltok clears it up and out. Gabrick wanted it. Sopel. Now it's Brendan Morrison. Naslund on the left side. And an offside against Vancouver. Yeah, they did. In fact, only 3 shots in that third period for Minnesota when they were trying to tie the game at home in Game 3.
And they played very good road hockey that game. Well, they can't play that here this evening, even though both teams very cautious in this game. This game is not indicative of what we've seen in the first 6.
From 3 games in 7 days to 3 games in 4 days. 1950, the last time we saw games 6 and 7 back-to-back. As we mentioned before, Minnesota did it in the first round. Bertuzzi shot misses, blocker side. Dupuis able to get it to center. So did Toronto and Philadelphia play back-to-back in the first round. Both teams arrived within about a half hour of each other. They both took off within moments of each other last night. Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport. It's a sight that you don't often see in professional sports. It's kind of cool.
Well, the thing is that Vancouver was almost detoured to Spokane or Tacoma because of Sammy Salo, but they did make it the rest of the way home to get him to the hospital.
Ronning gets it in. Baumgartner has seen limited ice, but he's in the lineup nonetheless with Salo out. Hendrickson on the forecheck. Brandon Reed trying to work it out. He's tied up, but Baumgartner there to support. Bertuzzi plays it to himself. Now to Matt Cook. Driven off the puck by Mitchell. Mitchell waits. Bertuzzi played that one nicely. Bertuzzi in front, shot knocked down by Willie Mitchell. Mitchell was hammered by Cook in the process. What a recovery by Mitchell there. Bertuzzi, a fine play. Dupuis. Baumgartner to center. Mitchell to Cliff Ronning. Ronning will carry him in the rolling puck to Pascal Dupuis. Across the line to Jimmy Dowd. Dowd shot, save Cloutier. Dowd the captain. Baumgartner spent the majority of the year in the American Hockey League. Only 8 games in the regular season played with the Canucks. Linden. Brunette, they dig. Dowd wants it. Brunette trying to get a shot away. Dowd the same. Here's Lubomir Sekerash. Sekerash in front. Redirected by Marshall wide. Brunette behind. To Dowd. Dowd shot. That was well wide. Here's Brunette again. Brunette shot. Sekerash rebound. Saved by Cloutier. Bumped down is Brunette. Sekerash a good shot. Great save by Cloutier. Point blank range. Sekerash spins. Route 2's on him. Kuba will wait patiently. Lubomir Sekerash makes the move, crosses the red line, sends it into the zone. Cloutier Bumps it to the side, Chubarov. Walls is there, pokes the stick. Stevenson tied up by Jovanovski. Walls looking to dig it out. Chubarov stayed with him. Gabrick closes. Chubarov comes out the other way. Gloved by Stevenson, but he can't keep it in. Here's Sopel. Linden. Sopel. Shot. Rolison set again.
Every time Rolison smothers the puck, you can see the sigh on the bench of Vancouver because they just can't get any second opportunities or get anything generated. Look at the shot here, and Cloutier does a great job of shutting down the post because that's all Sekerash really had to shoot at. But a great job once again to Brunette to get the puck out in front. No one's been able to beat him yet this evening.
14-8, the shots on goal. 14:45 remains in the second. Darby Hendrickson, Henrik Sedin. Face off left side at Wayne Rolison. And Darby Hendrickson wins it cleanly. Hendrickson outstanding in the face-off circles here tonight. Lost only one face-off in the first period. Park bumps it ahead. Loxton and Park and Hendrickson. Cloutier slides it around. And the puck will travel the length of the ice. Mitchell will touch. This will be icing. And another face-off inside the Vancouver zone.
I talked to a couple of the players that skated this morning, and one of them in particular, Wes Walls, said, I'm actually more nervous in this Game 7 than I was in the previous one because the expectations were entirely different in the Game 7 against Colorado. If you lost to them, you'd have said, hey, you really forced them and you played well. But now the expectations of all the fans and the media and everything, well, the expectations of the players has caught up to that. And now they realize that they can beat Vancouver, and that's where some of the nerves come in.
Good hit by Jovanovski. Played by Andrew Brunette. Malik hog-tying Andrew Brunette.
They're letting them play here.
No penalties called either way yet. And that's how Minnesota scored their first goal last night. In fact, their first two goals. Brunette centers. Jovanovski off the glass and down the length of the ice. Icing waved off. Kuba touches. Sekerash. Up ahead, Andrew Brunette. Gabrick looking in. Brunette bumps into Sopel. Dowd makes the line change. Matthias Solin picks up the puck. Gabrick stays on it. Matthias Solin. Up and through center. Can't dump it in deeply, though. Matthias Solin, former top pick of the Canucks. No contract mess around with the Maple Leafs. And Pat Quinn said, I like him, and he took him. He's been good. Platt. Morrison and Naslin. Good body check by Wes Walls. Walls stays with his man, gives him a couple extra shoves. Puck squirts free, it's Willie Mitchell. Morrison and Walls. Forecheck by Platt. Platt to Morrison. Morrison, he's got to be tired out a bit. The pass is now played by Jeremy Stevenson. Naslin wants it. Naslin backhand, bouncing puck. Pad save Rolison. Gabrick trying to clear. He does ahead to Schultz, and Schultz gets it out of the zone. Here's Walls. Stevenson. Stevenson waits and sends it in. Walls will retreat. Walls and Morrison had a nice little battle there. Andre Zuzin, watch out. Here's Matt Cook. Zuzin steps out of the way. And a whistle and a stoppage in play. What a play defensively by Willie Mitchell on Matt Cook a moment ago. We're scoreless, Game 7. Played about, I think, 2 periods of Game 7 with a broken cheekbone, and that's why the mask needs a bit of maintenance. That's why the mask is on the face of Willie Mitchell. Willie Mitchell grew up a fan of the Vancouver Canucks. Was just a kid when they advanced to the Stanley Cup Finals in 1994. Used to listen to games on the radio. Brad May across the line. May looks to center. Matt Cook, Brandon Reed, Brad May. Puck bouncing, still loose. Rolison will freeze. Brad May hasn't been out there much, Mike, but when he is, he's effective.
Well, he's an energy guy, and he's on that line. Cook and Reed out there as well. And, you know, they throw them out there. It's not for finesse reasons. It's so they can come and do just this. Crash around the net, maybe get a loose puck somewhere, and just bang a free one in. Rolison does a very good job of smothering the lower part of the net, and that situation there just covers it and takes off any pressure. That's an energy line right there.
Zuzin holds behind. Kuba to Walls. Dumped in towards Dwayne Rolison. Good position in the neutral zone by the Canucks. Kuba fans on the clearing attempt. Chubarov. Wall stays with them. Here's Trevor Linden. Linden trying to cycle. Linden with Chubarov and Ruutu tonight. To the point, and Olin. Shot hit the backside of his own player. Kuba just missed Jeremy Stevenson. Sopel touches icing is called.
Well, Vancouver playing a very patient style of hockey right here. The Wild have played this kind of hockey for a long time, so this isn't new for them.
About 3 years.
Yeah. And they're just waiting for someone like Stevenson to maybe get a hit, spring the puck loose for his line mates Walls and Gabrick, and that's how the Wild usually start the scoring.
Bertuzzi, the heroics in the face-off circle in Game 1 seen years ago. Hendrickson staying with it. Puck is still bouncing around. Schultz drags it around the backboards to Mitchell. And out of the zone. Barron bumps it back ahead. Clubbed ahead by Mitchell. Ronning was in the zone, so play continues. He pushes it to center. Henrik Sedin across the line. Minnesota outscoring the Vancouver Canucks 12-3 the last 2 games, but we're scoreless here in Game 7. And all that has happened previously matters none. It is about a 1-game series. Hendrickson ahead to Ronning. Ronning trying to work around Baumgartner. Barron touches, whistle, icing again against Minnesota.
Well, Darby Hendrickson, you talked about the face-off. I had a chance to speak with him a couple days ago just about face-offs. He says, you know, some of the considerations against a guy like Linden is that Linden's a power guy. You have to be quick to his stick to maybe limit him from drawing the puck back using his strength. Bertuzzi, another player like that. But when you face a guy like Morrison, well, he's about finesse. He does have strength, but maybe you have to be a little quicker to the puck. Use your leverage and win that way.
Walls uses his leverage and wins against Morrison in the way that Darby Hendrickson would write it up. Zuzin clears it out. It's like a pitcher in baseball, Mike. You have to know your hitters. You have to know where you want to throw against certain hitters and certain batters, and that's what Hendrickson does in the face-off circles. Malik across the red line. He'll send it in and around. Rolison will hold for Minnesota. Sweeps it to Kuba. Naslund quickly in on Richard Park. Minnesota trying to get their speed game going. Vancouver's clogged up the neutral ice area very well here so far in the second period. Trent Klatt said before the Game 6 yesterday, you have to trust your system. You have to trust what got you here and get back to the basics. And Vancouver, a pretty strong period thus far in doing so. Limiting Minnesota so far in the hockey game to 8 shots on goal. Jovanovski moved ahead to Klatt, across to Brad Brown. Brown met by Naslund. Puck is in the zone. Jimmy Dowd has it. Dowd behind. Morrison able to gather. Brunette was hoping to get the loose puck and work his magic behind the net. Matt Cook, 2-line pass. Pascal Dupuis getting into the physicality here in game number 7. Is the 11th Canucks captain. Replaced Mark Messier as Canucks captain. And when Trevor Linden returned, he said, leave it alone. This guy's been a great leader. He's a Hart Trophy candidate. But if his team doesn't win tonight, nothing is going to feel good all season long for Marcus Naslund. Joltok. Dupuis. Shot deflects up towards the glass. Matt Cook bounces it up and out of the zone. Here is Sergei Joltok. Joltok, Kuba. Kuba, Joltok. Joltok, Kuba. And now Minnesota brings it out. Joltok deflects, and the puck will travel into the seats.
Well, communication is going to be a big key here, and Cliff Ronning tried to get Lubomir Sekerash to pinch on that play, and Ronning said that he was going to jump in his spot. Lubomir Sekerash got the signal a little bit late, and the puck was turned over in the neutral zone. That's when it came back around, but that's where communication is going to be a big key here.
Olin loses an edge. Cloutier's there nonetheless. Brings it over to the near side boards. Trevor Linden. Artem Chubarov, Yarko Ruutu. Ruutu took the first penalty Linden the second last night. Those penalties in which Minnesota cashed in on in the second. Linden. Chabarov. Chabarov in front. Here's Sopel. Dangerous shot towards the net, blocked by Stevenson. Sopel can rip it. We witnessed that in Game 4, the overtime game winner at the XL Energy Center. Zuzan avoids Ruutu, but lost an edge in the process. Sopel trying to jump ahead of Stevenson. Behind the net, Jarkko Ruutu. Ruutu looking to cycle Sopel. Time. Sopel looking. Stevenson stays positionally sound. Here's Olin. Shot. Score! Matthias Olin. The screen by Jarkko Ruutu, and Vancouver has scored first.
Well, watch what happens here. They switch, and then the defender, Kuba, just can't get up in time, and it goes underneath the pads of Dwayne Rollison. Watch the screen and goes right through him. This is the first time that we've seen any concerted effort of a defenseman jumping down into the zone. It was Sopel, but when he came back up, everyone got switched around, and they get the shot. Olin gets the scoring going.
Credit a lot of that goal to the play at the blue line by Brent Sopel. Outstanding lateral movement allows Olin to get the shot.
Well, we've talked about the fact that the big line isn't scoring for Vancouver, but the reason they're still in this series is because of defensemen like Olin, who've stepped in, Jovanovski, Sopel. They have scored some goals in this series, and that's why Vancouver is in this Game 7.
13 goals by the defenseman in the playoffs for Vancouver. Trent Platt. Minnesota rebounded from a deficit twice against Colorado. They were down 1-0. They tied it 1-1. They were down 2-1. They tied it 2-2. They are down 1-0 here as Matthias Olin scores 11:29 into the second. Offside against Minnesota. And this crowd was dangerously silent, and I think pretty down nervous about the Canucks and this happened the 2 games prior.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of game Vancouver plays now. They were very patient to this point. Interesting to see if they'll start shooting some of those defensemen into the zone a little bit more. Or will they throw out the kind of game that they had in Game 3 once they got the lead?
Dan Cloutier has made the couple of key saves that he has been forced to make. Minnesota has been limited to just 9 shots on goal. And we're past the midway point. Here's Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi shot, he scores! Somehow the puck got behind the defenseman, and Bertuzzi, who had 46 regular season goals, makes no mistake.
Well, it just gets by Zuzan, and Bertuzzi, first smile I've seen on his face all series long. And he puts this one underneath the bar. You knew that this line could break out eventually. Maybe not the line, but individually, a couple of guys are stepping up in this game, and one of them was Bertuzzi.
Minnesota has their work cut out for them now. They trail 2-0. Todd Bertuzzi, just his second goal of the playoffs, his first point of the series.
Bertuzzi said he needed to refocus himself after Game 5. He didn't do it in Game 6, but it looks like it took an extra day, and he has been physical in this game and gets behind the defense in a fortunate bounce.
2 goals, 1 minute and 1 second apart. Bertuzzi from Henrik Sedin and Murray Barron. After Olin from Sopel and Ruutu. And Minnesota trails 2-0 as they try to make NHL history, fighting back from a 3-1 series deficit twice in the same playoff year. And now this crowd is energized, Mike, with 6:55 remaining in the second. But tons of hockey remains. Remember, Colorado fought back from a 2-goal deficit in Game 6 of the previous series. They lost in overtime, albeit.
Todd Bertuzzi, who had 1 goal in 13 playoff games. But the thing about the Vancouver Canucks is the fact that they've scored timely goals in this series. And this one's very timely because it puts them up by 2. Bertuzzi somehow gets a lucky pass between a couple of defenders. You can't count on this kind of feed, but he slips him behind and gets a good pass.
Henrik Sedin, Todd Bertuzzi's 2nd point of the series. He had an assist earlier. Sedin, Bertuzzi. Andrew Brunette up ahead, Jason Marshall, who sends it in. Canucks are 5-0 in the playoffs when leading after 2 periods. Daniel Sedin moves it ahead. Willie Mitchell. Bertuzzi steamrolling towards Mitchell and jams him into the sideboards. Nolan Baumgartner leads it for Henrik Sedin to Daniel Sedin. Sedin down low to Sedin. In front towards Linden, broken up by Mitchell. Linden comes away with it. Henrik Sedin in front. Schultz plays it nicely. Dowd gets it ahead. Marshall kept in by Sopel, sent towards the net. Bouncing puck is wide. Trevor Linden spins and waits. Linden shot. It hit a body in front. It was Daniel Sedin. Daniel Sedin, Henrik Sedin. Olin back behind. Dowd is there. Marshall was down. Mitchell trying to come up with it. He's met by Daniel Sedin. Henrik Daniel and Trevor Linden. Schultz reads the pass behind the net. Trying to get it over to Willie Mitchell. Canucks have the Wild pinned in their own zone. Brunette intercepts the pass intended for Brent Sopel. Here's Brunette. Sends it in towards Cloutier. Minnesota will get a line change here. Oland across to Brent Sopel. Moved ahead to Ruutu across the red line. Just flipped up towards Shubara. He almost was able to feed it to an open Brad May. May towards the point. Ronning takes it. Dupuis moves ahead. Here's Ronning. Dupuis. Poked off his stick by Malik. Behind it's Ruutu. Joltok checks him. Puck is not frozen yet. Plays continuing. Minnesota digs it out. Ronning. Now it's Malik who gets it. Puck in front, score! Pascal Dupuis took it out of midair, and Minnesota has made it a 2-1 game.
Cloutier was still playing the puck as if it had not gone in. But Dupuis was able to bat that one out of the air, and it definitely was below the crossbar. What a goal there by Dupuis, who was a scratch last game because of an injury to a lower body. Watch this. And that is a beautiful play as the puck flips over the net. Oh, a fortunate deflection by Joltok as Malik tried to clear the zone. And the referee had perfect angle on that one. And Dupuis scores a big goal. He scored a big goal in Game 7 against Colorado, and he scores a big one here to bring the Wild within 1. I think they're going to review it just to see, but I think they're going to be calling this one a 2-1 game.
3rd goal of the playoffs for Pascal Dupuis. As long as the stick under the crossbar, it's a good goal. Veteran referee Bill McCrary. Dennis Morel is here as the supervisor. Frank Broaders is the video goal judge. It's under review.
Well, let's take a look at it ourselves. It's the deflection up in the air, and watch where the stick hits the puck and whether it's below the crossbar. Right? Oh, yeah, definitely. Right there. Right there. That is a goal, and yes, they already have it on the board.
First goal of the series for Pascal Dupuis. How big is that? Canucks had the full momentum, Mike. The full momentum.
And once again, it's some forechecking and work behind the net that creates opportunities.
Joltok the assist. 15:30, so 3 minutes after Vancouver made it 2-0. Minnesota makes it 2-1. And we have ourselves a brand new hockey game again. Linden down low. Keeps it into the zone. 4 minutes, 10 seconds. Remains in the second period. Dupuis has quieted this crowd and made them a bit nervous again. Hendrickson. Stevenson. Marion Gaborik trying to spring himself open. All over Matthias Olin. Stevenson on Chubarov with the body check. Olin is holding on to the stick of Marion Gaborik. Chubarov leads it ahead to Jarkko Ruutu. Ruutu just into open space. Takes no chances. Lubomir Sekerash brings it out. Stick handles into open ice ahead to Richard Park. Park looking. Park driving. In front. Loose puck. Cleared aside by Jovanovski. Jovanovski all over Sergei Zholtok. Mitchell. Behind it's Antti Laaksonen. Morrison right there. Laaksonen holding the stick.
It's
penalty against
time.
him. Here is Laaksonen.
It's about time.
Morrison holding the stick, Mike, you were calling for it a moment ago. And Minnesota will have a power play and an opportunity to tie this game at 2 when we return to Game 7 at General Motors Place.
Keep an eye on Morrison's hand as he grabs onto the stick right there. Then he lets go with the hit. Eventually he grabs the stick again. Laaksonen continues to go, and he finally gets the penalty call on him.
3 for 5 on the power play last night. The Minnesota Wild, top power play unit in the playoffs. Nearly 27% in this series. Ronning to Kuba. First penalty called in this game, Mike. Ronning moving towards the middle. Ronning fakes. Ronning to Marion Gaborik. Gaborik down low. Brunette. Ronning shot. And it's deflected up and into the netting.
They really were trying to take away that pass from Gaborik to Ronning. They do not want Ronning to control the puck. But when it went back down low, Brunette got it up to Ronning. Look at Ronning just try and get it to the net and deflected at the last second by Chubarov off of his skate. Otherwise, Luce would have been forced to do something with it.
Brunette has 2 of the 7 power play goals in this series. Gaborik, Zholtok, Ronning, Kuba, the other power play goals. Marshall was trying to jump in. Murray Barron and Jason Marshall. Don't need to take one here, Marshy. Do not need to take one here. Not worth it.
Well, the referee just resetting the clock because the puck was dropped unfairly, and that's why we had that skirmish.
Just don't take a penalty. 127 remains on the minor against Morrison. 2:42 remains here in the second period. Olin and Bertuzzi for Vancouver, 1 minute and 1 second apart. Then 3 minutes later at the 15:30 mark, Dupuis scores his first of the series on the Wild's 10th shot of the game. Marion Gaborik has been the star in this series and in the playoffs. 17 total points. Brunette. Barron quickly on him. Ruutu's in. All kinds of green jerseys going for that puck. Barron stays with his man. Brunette slides it. Marshall couldn't get the shot away. Sekerash, and it's fed out by Murray Barron. Minnesota was desperately trying to get that loose puck, Mike, and spring somebody open. With speed, it's Cliff Ronning. He comes through center. Ronning himself. Ronning in front. And Zholtok will take it. Sergei Zholtok to the point, and Cliff Ronning. Ronning shot blocked. Sekerash had a goal last night. Gaborik. Gaborik holds down low. Brunette. Brunette looking. Leaves it for Marion Gaborik. Here's Zholtok. Fed back Sekerash. Gaborik. Down Brunette. Brunette Gaborik. Gaborik waiting. Ronning sneaking. Sekerash blue line. Shot well over the net. Big carom. Brunette's on it. Ronning now in deeply. Here's Brunette. Loose puck. Pushed aside by Cloutier. Sekerash behind to Brunette. Here's Marion Gaborik. Brunette. Zholtok shot fanned upon. He was hit in the face in the process. And he's slow to get up. No call. Penalty about to expire. Sekerash. Zholtok comes off. Walls into the play. Met by Murray Barron. And sent down. Schultz takes it. Barron cross-checks Richard Park. Gets it over towards Loxonen. Park is hammered. One thing about letting the players decide the game, another to let anything go. Mitchell gloves it ahead. Wes Walz, hand pass.
I absolutely agree. If you're going to let them play, you still have to call those penalties that are penalties. And there's a lot of non-calls out there, and the ones taking advantage of it are the Canucks. Watch this. High stick to the face.
How's that not a high stick?
Well, the thing is, it was a high stick in overtime twice against the Wild. I don't know why it's not a high stick near the end of the second period. Unbelievable. Non-calls are one thing, but it's fairly lopsided in the non-call department. Look
That's
at
a 4-minute high stick. He's pleading.
Unbelievable.
You gave it in
Game 3.
Game 4. Give me a break. Game 4. That's right. Gave it to Kuba. He didn't cut himself short. Park in between the legs to Wes Walz across the line. Walz shot. Blocked by Malik. Walz trying to stay with it. Loxonen. Park tied up by Jovanovski. Park trying to fight through it. Walz wants it. Morrison back to help. Loxonen was just hammered in the face. And here comes Trent Platt. Brendan Morrison ahead towards Platt. Bounced over his stick, and Schultz redirects to Mitchell. Mitchell was looking for Ronning offside Minnesota.
Loxonen shaking off what was a hit to the face. Look at these bleeding out of his nose as well. Joltok bleeding. Right there. Naslund gave him a shot. Unbelievable.
Darby Hendrickson. Hendrickson, Daniel Sedin, Todd Bertuzzi. Hendrickson, Ronning, Dupuis. Schultz steps across. Schultz trying to spin the puck. And the horn will sound. 2-1 hockey game, 40 minutes old. Our Bud Light, what's on tap? Brad May, the NHL veteran, back with the Canucks for a second time, will be our guest. Second period statistics and highlights and so much more. 20 minutes remains in regulation. Minnesota trails 2-1. The series is tied at 3. The winner advances. The loser, their season comes to conclusion. What a goal for Dupuis. Big goal indeed. For your mother, how about my mother? She's rooting for the Wild. Marian Gaborik, one shot, it came in the first. Rolison, the hero in games 5 and 6. Joltok. Willie Mitchell showing great guts, great determination. The BC boy. And here we go, third period. Chubarov, Ruutu, and Trevor Linden start things. They're the checking line against Joltok, Gaborik, and Jeremy Stevenson. They are bear-hugging Marian Gaborik, Mike, tonight on every occasion. And he has not been able to spring himself very free so far.
Well, we've talked about it. The idea to let these two teams play is great, but it does benefit Vancouver because Vancouver clutching and grabbing and slowing down the Wild. The Wild just can't find that open ice right now, and until they do, they're not going to get the chances they need to score goals.
Ruutu, long drive. Rolison comes in. All right, take me inside both locker rooms. We'll start with what Mark Crawford said to his team.
Well, continue to do what you've been doing. Don't make any silly plays. Get the puck and do the simple things. Get it over the blue line. Hey, you don't have to be a hero now. These fans will be just as happy if you win than if you make a pretty play.
And Jacques Lemaire?
Well, Jacques Lemaire, he wants them to find that open ice. Chip the puck by the defender. Use your speed. Dump it in if you have to, but use your feet and try and make these guys haul you down.
Andre Zuzin. Philippe Kuba. Zuzin, Kuba. Good job done in the neutral ice area by Vancouver tonight. They had an equally good job done in the neutral ice area in Game 3. That was when they won despite having just 13 shots on goal. Malik at the blue line. Across towards Marcus Naslund. Shot towards Rolison. Pad save. Morrison. Bear hugs Kuba. Kuba bounces it up and out of the zone. Bouncing puck Malik. Flies it back. Kuba. Naslund right on him. Gets it across towards Zuzin. Too far Morrison. Now it's on to Loxonen. Loxonen stops. Moves it ahead to Dupuis. Murray Barron was right there. Dupuis sends it in deeply. Darby Hendrickson. Minnesota hasn't really been able to establish their cycle here tonight. Brunette really the only man who's been able to maintain a little puck possession down low. And that's something Tony Granato was impressed with Minnesota. Here's Cliff Ronning. Bouncing puck. Dupuis shot just wide. Stick side of Cloutier. Ronning. Hendrickson. Here's a chance for the cycle. Hendrickson tied up by Brandon Reed. Fights through it. Jovanovski's right there. Dupuis to Ronning. Ronning waiting. Ronning. Drag down shot just wide. Hendrickson. Mitchell now. And Cook bounces it out. There's the feet moving for Minnesota.
Yeah, just making those quick little passes. It doesn't have to be a pretty play, just a quick little pass and a shot. And Ronning was dragged down. He still got the shot off.
Chubarov and Mitchell tangle in the neutral ice area. Mitchell takes it. And Mitchell up too far for Schultz. Ruutu can't dump it in. Brunette was right there. Ahead to Jimmy Dowd. Jimmy Dowd shot saved by the glove of Dan Cloutier.
Quick little turnover there, and it meant Jim Dowd had some ice. And he gets a shot. He does get it, but not all of it. Look at the steal by Brunette coming off the bench. And then Dowd will get the shot. It's not a solid shot. It was fluttering a bit. Cloutier was out to cut down the angle. And that's what you want to see more of right there.
Joltok tried to push that face-off forward, Mike. Possession for Minnesota. Marian Gaborik has it. Gaborik. Joltok. Kept it in at the blue line. Here is Stevenson. Wild came back twice against Colorado. They trailed 2-1 late in the third period. Marian Gaborik. Joltok. Over towards Stevenson. Chubarov right there. Stevenson. Joltok shot. Saved by Cloutier. Gaborik has it on the sideboards. Gaborik down low. Stevenson. Dragged to the side by Chubarov. Somebody needs to make a call. Linden across the line. Poke check by Sekerash. Richard Park up and out of the zone. Bouncing puck. Jovanovski. Across to Merrick Malik. Malik over to Daniel Sedin. Daniel Sedin. Nifty move. Sedin goes down. Mitchell comes up with it. Jovanovski at the blue line. Locks it in. Overcommit. Shot. Saved by Rolison. And the battle between Bertuzzi and Mitchell continues. Regardless of the outcome, I can't wait to see the handshake between those two guys when it's done.
Oh, Rolison does a good job at freezing the puck. Look at Sedin come down inside out, but he is too far down the ice as Mitchell just wards him off and then clears the puck up the boards. Swall's out there now.
Henrik Sedin, Wes Walls wins the faceoff. Willie Mitchell. To Dupuis. Baumgartner there. Vancouver runs a nice system in the neutral zone as well. Dupuis sends it up and over the net. Baumgartner back to get it for Vancouver. Intercepted. Dupuis. Big drive. Saved by Cloutier. Wow. Daniel Sedin into the zone.
That's the kind of play that the Wild scored on last night.
Dupuis sends it back. Willie Mitchell will take it. And it's pushed up and down into the Vancouver zone. Jovanovski. Dupuis ripped it. Good save, Cloutier. Marcus Naslund circles. Naslund, puck possession. Jovanovski. Kuba back to get it. Right off the glass and out. Jovanovski. Back pass to Malik. Puck possession series early. Vancouver puck possession here. Morrison well wide. Platt went down hard. Sopel. Bouncing puck behind the Minnesota net. Trent Platt. Matthias Ohlund. That will go into the netting. What a chance for Pascal Dupuis. What a turnover by Nolan Baumgartner.
Well, you can't go up the middle of the ice with the puck, or you're going to get nailed. And Minnesota Wild almost were able to take advantage. Keep your eye on this part of the ice. Right up the middle. There's Dupuis. I don't know where they were going with that one. And look at this blast. And look where Cloutier is. 3 feet on top of his crease. That's why he was able to stop that cannon by Dupuis.
Baumgartner right back out onto the ice. And he'll chase it down. That's a small little coaching move by Crawford. Put your man right back out there. Brandon Reed. Reed on the backhand, and it goes over the net of Dwayne Rollis and Brad May. Matt Cook, Brandon Reed. Cook had some key goals early. Brandon Reed trying to get to the loose puck. Murray Barron, Nolan Baumgartner. Schultz takes it. Andre Zuzin. Zoltok through center. Stick handling, has it, waits. Goes around the outside. Zoltok still keeping it. One hand in front. Sopel was there defensively. And May will clear it ahead. We played just over 5 minutes here in the third period, and Minnesota has had some chances. Been 9 years since a trip to the conference finals for Vancouver. Lubomir Sekerash circles behind. Here's Darby. Chubarov. Dupuis right there. Dupuis to Hendrickson. Hendrickson sends it in. Ronning on top of Dan Cloutier. Jovanovski saw Ronning go one way. He'll bring it out the other. Sends it in on net. And Rolison will be forced to take the face-off as Ruutu hustles in. Turnover inside the Vancouver zone. Dupuis let his 100-mile-an-hour slap shot rip, but Cloutier was there.
Best power play specialist in the NHL. They got him coming. Not a lot of teams have.
What's wrong?
I don't know. It's just a little weird with them here.
They're just here because it's hockey night. They don't care about us.
Guys.
Go ahead, dude. You're fine, buddy. Doesn't matter.
Guys, I need this. Come on, schmookums.
Well, Dan Cloutier knows very well if he doesn't allow another puck behind him, no one will remember the 11 goals scored against him in games 5 and 6. Chubarov wins the faceoff. Matthias Olin. Andre Zuzin. Stick check by Ruutu. Looks to center. Walls has it. Walls would love to spring Gabrick here. Walls with speed on Sopel. Walls stops. To the trailer Mitchell. Down low to Jeremy Stevenson. Marian Gabrick in to get it. Gabrick missed West Walls. Gabrick one shot in the game. Credit the Vancouver defense for that. In this checking line of Chubarov, Linden, and Jarkko Ruutu. They were the key checking line against the Doug Weight line in the first round against St. Louis. Henrik Sedin across the line. Sedin, Bertuzzi busting to the net. Bertuzzi back. Henrik Sedin keeps it. Zuzin stays on him. Puck is on the side. Cage comes up, goes down in place. Water bottle down. Play continues. Dowd behind defensively. Dowd will come away with it. Jimmy Dowd. Dowd just looking for some space. There's a nice job done system-wise, Mike, by Vancouver at neutral ice.
Minnesota also getting a line change on the play.
Up ahead to Jason Marshall. He mishandles. And Malik will feather it ahead to Morrison. He backhands it into the body of Trent Klatt. Klatt on Kuba. Kuba goes down. Naslund comes up with it. Kuba with the poke check on Marcus Naslund. Wes Walls wanted that loose puck. Morrison has it for Vancouver. 12:15 remains in the third period. Murray Barron. Schultz. D to D. Kuba has to wheel back. Naslund was in nice position. Remember this forecheck. They'll take away the wings. Vancouver. Loxinen. Driving towards the net. In front. Wall shot. He scores! He scores! Wes Walls has tied this game at 2.
Credit the drive to the net by Antti Loxinen. It draws the defender to him, and somehow Cloutier gets wiped out of the net, and Wes Walls has tied this game in the middle of the third period. Look at the breakout. Watch the winger. They take away the wings, but they find a way to move it up the ice. Now watch Loxinen draw 2 players to him. Drawing 2, who's left? Wes Walls. No one picked him up. Nice play there by Loxinen, and Cloutier thought it was going back door and hit a defender and just laid in the crease. What a nice effort there, driving, and Cloutier had no chance on that one.
Minnesota tied game 7 against Colorado at the 15:32 mark of the third. They tie Game 7 here at 8:05 of the third period. Wes Walz, his 7th of the playoffs. Nick Schultz, Sergei Zholtok, Loxinen, and Schultz will pick up the assists. Wow, what a different player Antti Loxinen has been these last 2 games. Matt Cook for Vancouver. Bertuzzi, he hammers down Zuzin and runs into Wayne Rollison and the Minnesota net. Faceoff's going to come out of the zone because it was Bertuzzi who knocked the net off the moorings.
Well, as you said, the 2 forecheckers for Vancouver came in and they tried to take away the wings. But what Schultz does is he moves it up ice and makes one solid cross-ice pass to Loxinen. And Loxinen comes all the way down and makes the nice play to get Walz an opportunity. Here's the jamming of the left leg. The net does come off, but not before 250 pounds of Vancouver Canuck named Bertuzzi runs into Rollison.
Well, I never did that well in physics, Mike. But you know what? With the force that it was moving, that was more than 250 pounds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Olin handles that loose puck ahead to Jarkko Ruutu. Ruutu across the line. Trevor Linden checking line out against Gabrick and company. Jimmy Dowd now with Stevenson and Gabrick instead of Sergei Zholtok. Dowd ahead to Stevenson. He punches it out of the zone. This will be an icing against Minnesota. The Canucks fans have been silenced. They're trying here to cheer on their team. And if you're Vancouver, you still think about this little net who's on your leg and will not go away.
Well, the pressure, I think, is solidly on the Vancouver Canucks. They're at home.
No doubt.
They are expected to move on. They're expected to do great things this season after a very good regular season, and the Wild are still there.
They're expected to win the Stanley Cup. If you read the papers around here. And they're expected to go far with Detroit, Dallas, and Colorado out of the way. And that's no disrespect to Anaheim. Jovanovski, because they have dispatched of 2 of those teams. Minnesota dispatched of the other. Now it's 10:34. Andrew Brunette said, we'll take a 1-game winner takes all. Well, now we have 10 minutes, 34 seconds, and perhaps the next goal takes all.
Now, Cloutier has been solid in this game, but they have not really tested him as much as the Wild can. And we'll see what happens down the next 10 minutes. Who is going to be the more solid goaltender here? That's going to be a big question.
Mitchell. Richard Park. Naslund got to it first. Schultz locks it in. Jovanovski with that good speed. Jovanovski stops, feathers it to Morrison in front. Blocked by Walz. Walz will bring it ahead. Wes Walz makes the move, and Walz just missed finishing it. Jovanovski. Walz gets back defensively. Gets into his position and waits for a chance to stay on Naslund. Here's Morrison. Morrison shot, and it deflects over the stick of Marcus Naslund.
Big line out there.
First time tonight we have seen the West Coast Express together. And Mitchell hog-ties Bertuzzi that time. Baumgartner. Near side Barron, offside Vancouver. Wes Walz, the biggest goal of his NHL career, has tied this game at 2. Friends at Nordstrom's celebrating 10 years in the Mall of America. Proud partner of the Minnesota Wild, Nordstrom's. A little gift certificate for Brad May and Nick Schultz tonight. Our guests in the intermission, we thank them for their time. Darby Hendrickson. Good time in the face-off circles. Hendrickson had a goal, his first career playoff goal last night. 2 games. Back-to-back to decide things here. Murray Barron. Minnesota Wild, if they win, they make NHL history. Kuba able to get it out of the zone with a second effort. Ronning looked to bump it ahead past Brendan Morrison. Here's Cliff Ronning. Ronning in the skates. Ronning on the backhand, can't get it deep. Barron. Look at how quickly Kuba got in on Naslund, and it's flipped into the zone by Pascal Dupuis. Cliff Ronning. The Vancouver kid. And they loved him here. Number 3 all-time in Vancouver playoff games played. Walz with speed around the outside. Walz one-handed in front. Stevenson. Good defensive play by Henrik Sedin. Ahead to his brother Daniel. Sopel jumping into the play. And Zuzan was there defensively. Nick Schultz up and down the length of the ice. 8:40. 8:39, 8:38 on the clock. 2-2 tie.
This is very, very tight hockey, and neither team is trying to give up too much of the blue line. And Vancouver certainly is trying to make Minnesota dump it in and get their defenders to get that puck out of the zone. Wes Walz tried to carry it in, did a pretty good job, but was checked off the play. And that's where Wild speed could help them here.
The 28-day odyssey, which has been the NHL playoffs for Minnesota, will it continue for 30 and 40 and maybe even more? Stevenson, number 28. Jarkko Ruutu. Trevor Linden in on Rolison. Zuzan, Hendrickson. Hendrickson, Gabrick. Gabrick, burst of speed. He stops. He waits. Marian Gabrick to the point. Zuzan couldn't keep it in. Offside, Minnesota.
They're sending it all the way down. An intentional offside.
But they're doing a nice job of keeping Gabrick to the outside, Mike.
They cannot let him get the middle of the ice. That's where he does a lot of damage. Marian Gabrick did a good job of pulling up and trying to find someone, but once again, when you have good back checks, a lot of times you won't find that trailer, whether it's a forward or a defenseman stepping into the play.
Not a guy in either uniform that's going to back check like they've never back checked before tonight. Brandon Reed face off. He's been good. Shot deflected off a couple of bodies and wide of Dwayne Rolison.
There's the energy line.
Bouncing puck, gloved by Zoltok, Cook, May, and Reed. Reed has been very noticeable tonight. All 5-7 of them. Jovanovski down low. Brandon Reed. Mitchell slides it aside. Locks it in. Strong on the stick. He sees Richard Park. He gives it to Zoltok. Zoltok shot, and Cloutier took it off the left shoulder. Cloutier is going to be slow to get up, and now he's regathered himself.
Took that one in the cage, I think.
Wow.
Referee goes and asks him if he's all right.
Brandon Reed dumps it. Neutral ice area. Brunette wants it. Now it's Jason Marshall. Tried to slide it to Brunette. Here comes Trent Platt the other way. Platt shot, bad angle. Rolison leaves no rebound. Cloutier took a big drive from Zoltok.
Well, when a goaltender comes out further, he has less time to react to the shot. So when he comes way out, this shot just hits him right in the chin. Oh, that's why you wear a neck guard. Look at the blast here. You know, both this shot and Dupuis' shot where he intercepted the puck inside the blue line have hit Cloutier up high, and I'm surprised they're going up that way, but Cloutier came up big twice.
Philippe Kuba. Bounce pass ahead to Ronnie. Brent Sopel back to get it. Murray Barron. 7:05 remains in regulation time. Turnover. Somebody's without a stick. It's Naslund. It was Barron, and Naslund gives Barron his stick, and Naslund will take another. Barron will come off. Sopel doesn't dump it. Ronnie will take it and work across the line. Ronnie out towards Walls. Bouncing puck he couldn't control. Sopel was a bit nonchalant with that dumping. Now he leads it ahead to Todd Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi, Henrik Sedin, Marcus Naslund here. Bodies flying all over.
Wild get away with one there. That was interference.
Gabrick to Stevenson. Trying to work around Ruutu. Whistle stoppage. What do we have?
Just an offside, I believe, Mike. Did the Wild ever get away with one as Bertuzzi dumped it in and tried to go into the zone? And watch at the step up. Bertuzzi using his speed and size. Watch what Zuzan does. Steps up and gives him a bit of a shot. Bertuzzi goes down fairly easy. He's a 250-pound man, and he doesn't go down. Yeah, he goes down fairly easily on that, and that's why the ref didn't call it. But still, to impede his progress, and they haven't been calling the penalties to the letter of the law, let's just say.
Schultz bumps it up, but not in. Oland to head towards Jarkko Ruutu. Ruutu, Linden, Chubara with Gabrick on the ice. This is the matchup that Mark Crawford seeks. Oland sends it into the Minnesota zone. Schultz will chase it down. Nick Schultz, just 20 years old. Jovanovski can't keep it in the zone. Gets it back to Oland. Jarkko Ruutu at center. Linden bumped by Zuzan. Schultz. Jimmy Dowd. Dowd pinned by Trevor Linden. Now it's Jarkko Ruutu. Henrik Sedin. Puck is still free. Ruutu. Sedin trying to get his stick free. Play goes right on. Ruutu, Linden. Rolison will take no chances. 5:38 remains. Tied at 2. Could the next goal be the game winner? Due to popular demand, a second St. Paul show by Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Fleetwood Mac has been added on Friday, June 20th at 8 p.m. XL Energy Center box office. All Ticketmaster locations. Tickets go on sale Monday, May 12th. So they are on sale soon. 4 days. Will we have a game at the XL Energy Center on Saturday? Malik to the point. Shot just wide. Bertuzzi behind the net. Rolison seeking position. And Bertuzzi misses the pass intended for Merrick Malik.
He was trying to bank that one off someone. There's no way that was a pass. He was trying to bank that off the defender's leg.
Jovanovski, lead pass Daniel Sedin. Hendrickson, Park. Park across. Darby Hendrickson, shot. He scores! Darby Hendrickson has given the Minnesota Wild a 3-2 lead.
That is incredible. You can see it develop, a 3-on-2. And a low shot this time. A low shot to the corner. Look at the move by Park. Over the line, Loxonen and does the right thing. He goes to the net. And this one catches the inside of the post. Look at Loxonen and drive down the middle. That'll create a bit of a screen. And the inside shot. Remember, Dupuis and Zoltak went high with theirs on the last 2 chances. This time Hendrickson goes down low, and he is rewarded.
Darby Hendrickson. What a year of frustration for Darby with the broken arm. Morrison, the drive, long rebound. Puck is free. Naslund missed it. Flat behind. Marcus Naslund. Remember the heroics in games 1 and 4 by Vancouver when they trailed. Sopel bouncing puck. Walls gets it out to Richard Park. Park on the side. Park the move. And taken away by Sopel. You want to get the puck in deep there, don't you, Mike?
Absolutely. You got to dump it down behind the net. Let them come out with it.
4:37 separates the Minnesota Wild from NHL history. Brendan Morrison. Shot blocked by Willie Mitchell. Zuzin goes crashing into Rolison. They were pushed by Bertuzzi because McCreary is saying the faceoff will come out of the zone. And Dwayne Rolison is shaken up.
Well, they're calling Fuller out, so we'll see. But he was hit pretty hard. I didn't see Zuzin go into him as we were watching the puck in the corner. But Rolison shaken up there.
Well, we'll wait for the replay, Mike. But I have to assume he was pushed by one of the Canuck players because McCreary pointed for the faceoff to come out of the zone.
Bertuzzi will do anything at this point, do anything to get the advantage. And watch as he actually gives Zuzin a shot, and it catches the ankle of Rolison. And there's no penalty on the play that I can see. But here's the push, and it catches.
Wait, is there a penalty? Because Jovanovski
yes, there is.
There is a penalty.
There is, and there should be.
Yes, indeed.
Watch this. Watch this. Right from behind, in front of the net. And that is just plain interference.
That is just plain ignorant is what it is. When your team trails, Mike, with 4:26 remaining, that is plain ignorant. But remember, and remember well what happened earlier in the season. Minnesota had a power play late in the game. In this series, Mike, in Game 4, there was the even-up call for hooking against Andre Zuzin, and then Jovanovski scored with the 4-on-4. Rolison still being attended to by Don Fuller, the athletic therapist for the Minnesota Wild.
Manny Fernandez is down in the tunnel, stretching right now, in case he has to come out. Rolison did tweak that left knee. You remember the ankle got pushed up against the post on a situation where someone else slid into him earlier in the period. Watch his leg, and we're looking at his left leg. Right there, it gets twisted as it knocks the net off. And it does look like his left knee. And Rolison actually trying to see if he can push off. Can he push off? And boy, this would be tough to put a goaltender in at this point and actually expect him to be solid I mean, Manny Fernandez has been sitting on the bench for all but 4:26 of this hockey game. But Rolison looks like he's going to stick with it.
Remember as well, Mike, it was a Bertuzzi penalty.
Yeah.
They hit on Willie Mitchell that he took in game 4. 4:26 remains. 2-minute minor against Todd Bertuzzi for interference. Hendrickson has given Minnesota the lead. His first career playoff goal came last night. His second here tonight against a franchise that once sent him to the minors.
Here's
Hart. Zoltok in front. Kuba, big drive, well wide. Linden trying to get it out of the zone. Olin, gloved by Ronning. Ronning to Zoltok. Zoltok waits and holds. Zoltok. Zoltok has it. Possession, Richard Park. Park point Kuba. Kuba, Ronning. Ronning, shot deflected. And it was just wide. Hit with the high stick, face off down the other way. Mike, you were going to make a point a moment ago.
Yeah, and it's still good. You have to watch it. You don't take a penalty here. Minnesota Wild, the referees are going to be scouring the offensive zone for the Minnesota Wild to maybe do something that they shouldn't, especially in front of the net. Keep in mind, it won't just nullify the Wild penalty, or excuse me, the Bertuzzi penalty. What it will do is once that penalty's over, it'll give them the power play with only a couple minutes left in the game. So you have to be very careful just to be saints out there.
Face off inside the Wild zone. Won by Morrison. Shot blocked by Brunette. Down the length of the ice, the puck will travel. Matthias Olin back to get it. Penalty kill for Vancouver. Fired down by Olin. Rolison is out. He plays. Rolling puck. Andre Zuzin ahead to Darby Hendrickson. How about Minnesota's zone, the potential game winner in the biggest game in franchise history. Matt Cook. Nick Schultz. A puck in the eye at the end of last year against Edmonton. A fractured forearm this year. And Hendrickson, a potential hero. Behind to Brunette. Brunette looking. Brunette in front. Saved by Cloutier. Jovanovski will push it ahead himself. Feeds it to Trevor Linden. Kuba steps in. Zoltok has Richard Park. 2-on-1 if Minnesota hurries. Zoltok, shot, save, knocked down in front. Park, he fires, it's wide. Dupuis behind and around to Richard Park. 2:40 on the clock. Park to Zoltok. Zoltok looking, shot, score! Pascal Dupuis! Power play goal, Minnesota! They lead 4-2.
Dupuis with 2 goals in this hockey game. This time, Bertuzzi's penalty costs his team. Look at the dump in here, and then Zoltok goes to the net. And the nice little deflection off of the stick of Cloutier. Nobody picks up the man on the back door, Pascal Dupuis, and 2 minutes and 33 seconds. And Bertuzzi has something to say to the referees. 2:33 left with a 2-goal lead. The Minnesota Wild, I think, will be playing Anaheim if they can just hang on.
Be careful, partner. Please be careful.
If they can just hang on.
Brian Burke, a pure class individual. Mark Crawford. Dupuis from Zoltok and Richard Park. The ice has been littered with debris here in Vancouver. The Minnesota Wild trailed 12.5 minutes into the second period by a score of 2-0. Since that point, Dupuis, Walls, Hendrickson, and Dupuis have scored, with Sergei Zoltok, Mike, gaining another point on the power play. Richard Park an assist as well. Dupuis got it started, though, off the big forecheck by none other than Sergei Zoltok.
Here's a goal by Olin to get it going, though. And it was Vancouver leading this one. Then Bertuzzi makes it 2-0, and we thought we'd see a rout, but Minnesota has always bounced back. And Dupuis, near the end of the second period, makes it a 1-goal hockey game. That's what the Wild needed. And then in the third period, came back. Walls gets a good bounce and a good forecheck. Gets the goal, ties the game. Then Darby Hendrickson with the blast inside the post. Gets the Wild up 3-2 on the power play. Then after Bertuzzi takes an ill-advised penalty, it's Pascal Dupuis with his second of the evening, a power play goal. And Zoltok gets another helper, and they are right now up by 2 goals He did take a slash or something as he scored the goal, but I tell you what, that doesn't hurt as much when you have a victory. There's the shot, the rebound, and just the cross-check afterwards.
How about Sergei Zholtok? Sergei Zholtok, he had failed in Edmonton. He was ousted and traded from Montreal. Pascal Dupuis, undrafted, and a tryout player in year number 1. And Zholtok has found himself a home as Jeremy Stevenson. As Wes Walz told me yesterday, Mike, if you had a half hour to spend with every player on the Minnesota roster, they would tell you their stories, be it years in Switzerland, or for Richard Park, too much too soon with the Pittsburgh Penguins, or Philippe Kuba. He wasn't physical enough in Florida.
It all comes down to perseverance, and that's what every player has done.
Already pulling the goaltender with 2 minutes and 27 seconds. Mark Crawford, shot towards Rolison. Cleared up, Sopel keeps it in the zone. Mitchell with it, extra attacker on for the Canucks. Bertuzzi, they scored with the extra attacker in game 1. This one's far from over, Mike, but the puck is sent out of the zone. Far from over because we've learned our lesson here in this Vancouver series. Bertuzzi, that's a 2-line pass. And Cloutier will be forced to come back into the nets.
And you know that Vancouver will forecheck like no other team right now. They tied games up before. They did it to the Minnesota Wild in game 1. They scored a couple goals in the third, including one with 1.2 seconds left, Matt Cook. And they will do anything, and I mean anything, to gain the advantage at this point. And that's where draws are going to be important. They can't do too much if you have the puck.
Darby Hendrickson, Trevor Linden. Face-off win back to Baumgartner. Hendrickson wasn't even sure Mike he'd be in the lineup every night when these playoffs began. Daniel Sedin across to Trevor Linden. There goes Cloutier again. Schultz has it. Net is empty. Schultz gets it up. Dupuis trying to chase it down. Gloved now by Henrik Sedin. 1:43 remains. Linden sends it into the zone. Matt Cook. Met by Mitchell and met again. Hendrickson to Stevenson. Stevenson tries to get it out of the zone. Baumgartner. Now it's Linden towards the net. That shot is wide. Kept in at the blue line, Jovanovski. He fires towards net. 1:23 on the clock. Minnesota leads 4-2. Rolison diving. Shot in front. Save Dwayne Rolison. Rolison comes up big. And Willie Mitchell there to protect his goaltender.
Covering the post was Dwayne Rolison. They were getting everything at the net. Watch this. Linden will spin it around, and right there, Sedin will jack one at the net, and boy, does Rolison have his angle there. And then some pushing and shoving, as you'll see here, quite a bit in the last 1:17.
Sopel, Naslund, Olin. Kuba got a stick on it. Behind towards Bertuzzi. Shot, save. Platt has to get new stick. Here's Philippe Kuba. Net is empty. Kuba threads it ahead. Doesn't want to take any chances with an icing. Sopel to Naslund. Here's Olin. Bouncing puck. Sent up but not out. Morrison locks it in out of midair. 50 seconds in a 2-goal lead.
Quick changes here for the Wild.
Around and played by Linden. To the point in Sopel. Sopel, Linden. Linden in front. Quick stick. Bertuzzi saved by Rolison. And Rolison with that right leg denies Todd Bertuzzi a second time.
What a save by Rolison. Coming up huge here. Every second counts in this one. They overstepped the puck trying to clear it. Look at that save. And then Bertuzzi, instead of pulling it back and going up, he pulled it back and tried to go around the pad. Watch this. He tries to go around, and it's blocked a second time.
31.4 seconds. Walz, Schultz, big face-off win there. Running, slaps it. Can't get it out. Henrik Sedin. Todd Bertuzzi. Matt Cook. Walz with his speed. Linden. Puck is free. Now there's 15 seconds remaining. Bertuzzi again. In front shot. Knocked down. Henrik Sedin. Walz, Dupuis. Shot down the length of the ice. And the face-off will occur with 3 seconds exactly remaining. And a 2-goal lead.
Can you score 2 with 3 seconds? I don't think so. I don't know. This is amazing.
This will be the first team in NHL history to win 2 series in the same season after trailing 3-1. Remember, in round 1, Minnesota became just the 8th team in NHL history to pull off that feat when having to win 2 games on the road. Forget about game 1. Forget about game 4 now. The Minnesota Wild are a face-off win away from heading to the conference finals. The Minnesota Wild have made NHL history, and the Vancouver Canucks are history.
This is unbelievable.
$16 goals scored, Mike, in the last 3 games of this series for Minnesota.
26 total. Excuse me. 26 is right. 26 goals total for the Minnesota Wild in this series. And when you score that number of goals, it's amazing.
Let's wait for the Bertuzzi-Mitchell handshake. Vancouver played their game for the better part of tonight. Bertuzzi and Willie Mitchell. Dan Cloutier. Jeremy Stevenson, his buddy from before. And how about this man? Darby Hendrickson, his best friend Trent Platt. Trent's 5th and youngest child, named after Darby. Competitors till the end. And that man, Dwayne Rollison, equaling what Manny Fernandez did in round 1, winning games 5, 6, and 7. And the Minnesota Wild will face the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. The series starts Saturday night at the XL Energy Center. This is a stunned Vancouver crowd.
What's left of it, because a lot of people left in the last few seconds there. They couldn't believe it.
They were driving up and down the streets of downtown Vancouver after game 1 like they had won the Stanley Cup. The Minnesota Wild will live to fight another day. We are going absolutely nowhere tonight during this historic moment for the Minnesota Wild. In addition to Mike and I in our postgame here within our broadcast, Jeff Grayson is downstairs. He will have an extended postgame show along with our good friends at Fox 9 News. This will be our last night with you on Fox 9 for a broadcast, but this night is far from over as the Minnesota Wild fight back from a 2-goal deficit. Dupuis, Walls, Hendrickson, and Dupuis on the power play, and they defeat the Vancouver Canucks in Game 7. Final score 4-2. The Minnesota Wild are headed to the conference finals here in their 3rd year of existence. The Minnesota Wild, the Cinderella story of the National Hockey Team. So much more when we come back. The Minnesota Wild had trailed 2-0. But Dupuis, opportunistic indeed, made it 2-1. And then Auntie Loxonen drives to the net. And the finish by Wes Walls. Richard Park skating again. Darby Hendrickson, big drive, he scores. It was 3-2, but the moments were still tense. Sergei Zholtok, another power play assist. Dupuis, the 2-goal game. And the Minnesota Wild have done the improbable. And they are believers, and they have shown the character to come back and amaze the National Hockey League experts once again.
Well, they said before the game that they were very nervous because they knew that they could do it. When you think that there's just a slight chance you can do something, maybe there's not so much to lose. But coming into this game, they knew that they've beaten the Vancouver Canucks during the regular season, during the playoffs. They knew that they could do it this evening, and That's why they're a little more nervous than normal.
Celebration continues downstairs in the Wild locker room, and a celebration well-deserved indeed. How about Dwayne Rollison? A .940 save percentage in the last 3 games of the series.
Well, he's been incredible all season long, and you knew that given the opportunity, he was going to step up, and he certainly did. He, 5, 6, and 7, their elimination games, and he came up with a 3-0 record, just like Manny did against Colorado.
6-0 in elimination games in NHL history, and this is a unique moment as you see our friends at ESPN2 interviewing both Manny Fernandez and Dwayne Rollison. And let's us not forget that Manny Fernandez pulled off the same trick, the hat trick of victories facing elimination against Colorado in the first round.
And let's not forget also that it's a fairly unique situation to have 2 goaltenders play so prominently in a situation such as the playoffs. I mean, you saw the teams that the Minnesota Wild played against, Colorado. You had 1 goaltender, Patrick Waugh. All of a sudden, Dan Cloutier. I mean, you see 1 goaltender systems all the way throughout. J.S. Giguère with Anaheim. It's amazing, but you have 2 goalies here, and they're both solid.
Can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Will you pinch me, please? Thank you. It is real, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I can't believe it.
And how about Minnesota doing it against the Vancouver Canucks? They defeat 2 Northwest Division rivals as the fans are here, and the fans are happy. And the fans at home have a few more home games. Was not able to play in last night's game. In French, please, can you say NHL history?
I'll say it in English. NHL history right now.
You just made it. How does it feel for you and your teammates?
Awesome. I think everybody's floating right now. It's a great feeling in the room.
Pascal, do you guys knew that you could do it? Some of the guys said that they felt a little more nervous before the game just because you knew that you could beat the Vancouver Canucks.
We knew we could beat the Canucks, but it's a team effort. We work as a team and get a big win tonight and win a big series.
Opportunistic indeed, Pascal, especially off the fortunate carom in front of the net was Zoltok doing a great job on the forecheck.
Yeah, Zol did a good job on the forecheck. I just, puck was in the air, saw it at the last minute, just batted in. It's a good feeling, when we don't play and you get in the lineup like that and get 2 goals. It's always great. Wes Walz made an interesting comment last night, Pascal. He said that you could go through the Minnesota Wild locker room and spend 30 minutes with each player, and they could tell the story. Your story is you broke your leg when you were in juniors. You went undrafted. You came here as a tryout player. Did you ever imagine you would be in this position so soon? Not so soon. It's a great feeling. We did it as a team, and that's the way it should be. We got a big, great guy, good bunch of guy in the room. Pascal, thank you for your time. Go enjoy this. Say NHL history in French, please. Histoire de la Ligue nationale. Thank you, my friend. Congratulations. Thank you. Back with much more. That's an exhausted Pascal Dupuis and an exhausted Dwayne Rollison. The hits early were all Vancouver, Mike. They dictated the pace for the better part of the night. But in the end, it's Minnesota moving on.
Lightning strikes once, the Wild strike twice.
Pascal Dupuis! Power play goal, Minnesota! They lead 4-2!
Down 2 goals to zip, the Wild score 4 in a row for the ultimate comeback in hockey.
Face-off went away from heading to the conference finals. The Minnesota Wild have made NHL history, and the Vancouver Canucks are history.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. It is a historic night for hockey in Minnesota, but what the heck? We're staying up late because it's history.
Why not? Back-to-back comebacks for the Wild. It's the first time in NHL history a team has overcome 2 3-1 series deficits in the same postseason.
Yeah, it's just been incredible so far, and it looks like it isn't going to end for a while. Let's get things started live in Vancouver with sports director Jeff Grayson, who's standing by at GM Place. Jeff.
Thank you. I am at GM Place, and I'm with Wild GM Doug Risebrough. Doug, congratulations.
Well, it was well-deserved for the guys. They worked hard all series, and there was ups and downs in these things, and they kind of weathered the ups and downs, and 2-0, and the 7th game is probably as up or as down as they can get.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, picture yourself in the Western Conference Finals?
No, I mean, you got to be honest. I think the team has had one of those special years, and special things are happening, and we just got to try to take advantage of it.
When you were watching the game, you had a best seat in the house from up above. What do you think happened? Like you were saying, guys weren't playing that bad, but it was all of a sudden it was 2-0 after 31 minutes without any scoring. They get 2 goals within a minute, and then you guys come back.
Well, when you're playing good teams, you don't always control all the momentum. And, the Canucks were really desperate to win the game, and they came out hard, and we were on our heels a little bit, but we weren't hurt badly in the sense that I thought that, we had sustained pressure. So we ended up just kind of forced to get back to playing with the puck when we were down 2-0 and started moving it and started making some plays. And, this team needs some breaks offensively. They don't have a lot of gifted players, and we got one tonight, and it was at the right time, and Darby's goal, it just came out of nowhere.
People at home just saw some saves by Roley. Can you talk about the goaltending that you guys have gotten, and obviously you got Roley the man tonight?
Well, Roley's been the guy in this series. I think Manny has contributed to the team, and we're, again, probably going to tax him to be going forward. So it's a comforting thing to have 2 goaltenders. You can get one guy on a roll, and Roley was on a roll on this series.
In June of 2000, 3 years ago, we were all in Calgary watching you assemble your very first team. 3 years later, here you are in the Final Four of the NHL playoffs. What makes this so special? If you could list some reasons, what makes this so special for you?
Well, I think it's when you're in management, one of the things that you're trying to do is educate players about the satisfaction that comes from winning. And you want them to understand that it's teamwork. And clearly this team has probably picked it up in a bigger way. And so what's rewarding is seeing the successes that these guys have had for the hard work that they've delivered and the way that they've done it together and been resilient at adversity.
Reiser, congratulations. Go celebrate.
Thank you.
Doug Risebrough, the man who has put this team together, and in 3 years they have made history with 2 3-1 comebacks. Let's go back to you. We're going to have much more post-game reaction from Vancouver. Jeff and Robin. That's right, Jeff and Robin. Well, first of all, congratulations to you, one of the veterans. I don't dare call you old because we're about the same age, but what is this experience like for you? Because, you've been through the playoffs a little bit. What is this like for you, Cliff?
Well, it's really strange because in 1994, it was the same feeling. The team is similar, but the team was in my hometown, Vancouver, I played for, and now we beat them, and we move on to a Final Four teams, and it's very exciting. But yet, we know we have a tough task ahead of us, and anything's possible. And back to that, just thinking about that first shift in the series and being ready for that.
You staying pretty mellow about this, or have you let loose any celebrating in there?
Well, we celebrated as a team. We're very excited that we worked that hard. Everyone pulled the ropes, and it was just an amazing feeling that a team like ours has come together in 3 years. And it's very satisfying. We had many meetings before the playoffs, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really sure how good we were going to do until I saw the resilience.
I was going to ask you, what changed things? Because I know in the series against Colorado, when it was 3-1, there was a lot of talk about how you guys had a meeting, and you talked with Jacques and Doug Rice. What turned things in this series, do you think?
Well, I think our team is very unique at the professional level. Everyone cares about each other, and there's no jealousies and things like that, and that's really something at a professional level is different. Everyone's hoping we do well, and we don't care who scores. We just want to win, and we respect every player. Working in the corners, it might not be a playmaker, but he's hitting somebody or doing the little things, and you like Willie Mitchell playing hurt and just showing a lot of heart.
I was going to ask you, Cliff, you were a scratch for one game. You were professional about it, and then you come back and get a couple of goals. There were people like Pascal Dupuis was just hurt, and then he gets 2 goals tonight. It just seems like you said, a bunch of different people. You can't just put your finger on one.
Yeah, that's Jacques is someone that has kept everyone in the dressing room a part of it, even if they're not playing. And another thing that's very different at this level, he makes everyone feel part of it. Even when you sit out, you don't say anything. You just go to practice and be the hardest working guy that next practice, and they'll probably get in the lineup. And that's kind of his forte, and that's what we do.
I know you live up here, but your fans in Minnesota are watching you right now.
Yeah.
What do you want to tell them?
Well, Of course, we're very excited to win, and we're looking forward to that first game. And I think we got to even be louder than the last time.
All right, there's a challenge to the fans. Congratulations, Cliff. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
That's Cliff Ronning, a veteran who brought leadership and is just excited to be in the Final Four of the NHL playoffs. One of the things, Jeff and Robin, as we send it back to you, that Wild fans that we saw before the game in our pregame show, they were saying, forget the Canucks, finish the Canucks, bring on. I'm here with Darby Hendrickson. Darby, what's going through your mind? First of all, congratulations.
Well, thank you, Jeff. We're I don't know, we're speechless. We didn't give up, though, and you know, that's the way this team is. That's why it's such an honor to play with all these guys. But Vancouver played extremely hard, and we have to tip our hat to them because it wasn't easy, and we're fortunate to get the win.
You make history. First team in the history of your sport in the NHL to come back and win 2 series after being down 3 games to 1. Is there something higher than all of us going on here, the way you guys keep coming back?
I don't know. I mean, this has been an unbelievable team, you know, since it started here, and it's improved and improved, and guys believe in each other, and it's amazing when you have those type of feelings and the right mindset, and you know, you get bounces, and we were fortunate to do it, and you know, it's a step to keep going, and but it's a special night for our team.
You picked a heck of a time to get your first couple goals of the postseason these last couple games. Describe the one that will go down as the game winner, the 3-2 goal.
Well, Richard Park was a 3-on-2, and Richard kind of just made enough delay to give it to me, and I just shot it. I think the goalie was kind of screened, and you know, it just fortunately it bounced in there, and but this team is great, and it's a great feeling. All these guys, it's a lot of fun right now.
What do you want to say to the people back in Minnesota who are once again are staying up till the wee hours on this amazing ride?
Fans have been unbelievable. We're coming back to the Twin Cities. We're excited, and it's going to be great. So thanks for all your support.
You're in the Western Conference Finals. You have home ice advantage as a 6th seed.
It's amazing. We'll take it, and there's no better fans than ours, and we're excited about them and being back and playing for them, you know, another game. So playoffs are so much fun. There's so much emotion. There's so much intensity, but what a thrill again to be with these guys and just be with the group and different guys stepping up on different nights. That's what makes it great.
Congratulations, Darby.
Thanks, Jeff.
We'll let you go celebrate. That's Darby Hendrickson. He got what turned out to be the game-winning goal. Let's go back to
right now, post-game guest. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll let you finish your post-game pepperoni, the dinner time snack. Congratulations, Rolly.
Thanks a lot. It was great. It's fun for our team, so hopefully we can continue it on.
We ask you this after each game. What is it like to deal with what you're dealing with, the shots firing at you, some very physical, big players coming at you into the net? I mean, how do you keep your poise? Is that just part of it from being a goalie?
Yeah, just, you know, I try not to worry about what's going on around me. Just concentrate on the puck and the task at hand, and that's one of hockey games this time of year. You got to take the little bumps. You got to take a little hit here and there just to try and win games. You know, in the regular season, you may want to do something back, but this time of year you got to suck it up, and hopefully you guys can capitalize on a power play or you get a goal off of it.
This is the first time from our records that you guys won in the playoffs after trailing after 2. We know how good you are leading after 2. This time you come back after 2.
Yeah, it was great. You know, guys were really confident in the locker room. We just stay with our game plan. You know, things will happen here, boys, and that's what we did. And you know, at the end of the night, we got more goals than them, and that was the key.
How heated did things get in this series? We saw a couple games ago where you were at center, at mid-ice, coming off. Cloutier was. How heated did this one get? Was it more so than Colorado?
Yeah, I think a little. You know, both series were both the same. You know, I think a lot of emotion gets flowing, but especially between our teams where we play each other 5-6 times, and every game we play each other, it's the same thing. So, but you know, we were able to control our emotions. I thought for the whole series, and that was the biggest difference.
As the Wild's goalie, you have a great perspective when your guys score at the other end. What went through your mind when you watched the team get those goals, and especially Darby's with the go-ahead?
Yeah, it was just like the pressure off my shoulders was just left, and basically just tried to focus on the task at hand, and that's giving our guys a chance to win, and we were able to secure the victory, and now we just get ready for our next series.
Last thing, what are you most proud of about the way this team has done this in the playoffs?
Well, just how everybody's been a part of it. Every guy in that locker room has been a part of this little role, and it's great for everybody, and everybody's been been basically thrown out from another organization that basically not wanted, and you know, just to give the guys all this credit, and you know, it's great for them.
From cast-offs to cup contenders.
Yeah, exactly. So we just got to worry about the task at hand now.
Congratulations, Rolly. We'll let you get some more pepperoni.
Oh, thanks.
That's Dwayne Rollison. What a game. What a series. We'll let him go celebrate.